All right, hello. Um, what do I say about this? This is the England Ireland. It's the last game to be played in the Six Nations tournament for 2023. Played on the 18th of March and the day after St Patrick's Day, and we're looking at Ireland playing England and the win and what the ritual was behind that whole thing. Okay. The caveat to this video. I am going to gloss over. I'm going to show you some numbers, but I'm going to gloss over them. Okay. I'm simply going to, I don't want to spend hours and hours like explaining every little detail here. Okay. So I'm going to miss a whole bunch of stuff out of here. I can assure you, I've looked at this, tried to do this video several times. There's a lot of information in here, a lot of little bits and bobs that I could spend hours on. Okay. The first thing to note, right, is we have a scenario here of, I just come out and tell you what's going on with the ritual. This is man returning home to the father, okay? This is the ritual of Odysseus returning home, the Odysseus, O here. O returning home, Odysseus returning home back to the father, okay? If you're not familiar with rugby, what we've got going on, right, with this England-Ireland game, the day after St Patrick's Day, okay, that's important as well. We'll get onto it in a minute. But we've got Andy Farrell here, okay? So this is straight away a reference to Andrew, the great Scot, the cross that's within my decode chart, which we'll get onto in a minute. And that is X marks the spot, okay? That is home. That is the number 10, the completion of a cycle, the number 10 in the Roman numerals. So this is what we've got going on here. He's got the beard, very nice for the father, okay? And then we've got Owen, okay, Owen Farrell, and he is the son, the actual son of this character here, okay? And he is, if we look at the name Owen, okay, we can anagram that and get one out of it, and we can get Neo, and we can get WON as well. One as in he's one, or one as in he's ONE. This is important, okay? So we have the one, and we have the father, and we have this returning home. And why do I say this as well as being like a returning home thing? Because Andy's coaching for Ireland, okay? He's the coach, so he's the big man in charge, right? Owen is the captain of England, okay? So again, we've got this kind of, the father is higher up the system, okay? Also, the important thing about captain, and especially with like Odysseus and the Odyssey being a voyage on the ship, okay? But we've got, what did I want to say here? I've got a little synchronicity that I wanted to explain, really, with this whole thing, because if you look at I don't know what their connections are to Ireland, but if you look at all the names in their family and everything, and just the name Farrell, and I'm pretty certain that they have quite strong family ties back to Ireland, okay? So you could almost say their ancestral home is Ireland, which, this would emphasize the idea of homecoming, going back to the ancestral roots, okay, back to the beginning, okay? So that's an interesting idea as well that's there, and I have the same synchronicity in my own life. My father got me into rugby, and the father-son thing going on with these two, and the same thing going on with my father. My grandparents were Irish, so we have that same ancestral tie back to Ireland. My father would have definitely been cheering for Ireland during that game, whereas I would have been cheering for England. Just the whole tie with rugby, okay? It was just another super nuts. It was not a massive synchronicity. I say it's a fairly good synchronicity, okay, with this whole thing for me personally. Anyway, what was also interesting was um, Owen wasn't playing the last game that England got their thrashing. He wasn't playing fly half, but by the way, fly half is number 10, again to do with completion of the cycle. But he wasn't playing that game. Instead, they had another character, and I've got him up here. Where is he? Marcus Smith was playing in that thrashing game. Okay, and we can look at his birthday, February the 14th. I'm not going to explain it. It's a 214 reference, Queen's birthday reference, Christmas Eve reference. But what I will say is, we could look at the name, the mark of Smith. Okay, Agent Smith. We've just had Owen being Neo, an anagram of Neo in there, and Marcus Smith, of course, Agent Smith. Okay, so we have this idea of when you become this character, you will get a good thrashing at some point. You're basically on the losing team, right? And that was the character that had to die. Okay, so this is the guy that took the thrashing. Okay, Marcus Smith. Then we go back to Owen, and he's the one. Okay. Now, what else did I want to say about this? I kind of lost my train of thought there a little bit. What's interesting though is that for this game with the Island game, they've brought him back. It's almost like they resurrected Owen to play this game. So that was also interesting, that he's kind of been resurrected off the bench to play in this particular game. So again, super interesting. I don't know, it's almost like it is. I don't know if it's, I don't know if this is naturally occurring or whether this is a man-made, this is a man-made ritual. I'm not sure. Okay, it's super difficult to just say one way or the other, because once you see some of the crazy synchronicities that happen that are not man-made, i.e. the flipping solar eclipse, that when you see something like that, you know that anything's possible, basically. So it's very easy to say, well, it looks staged and rigged, but I don't know. I think it's impossible to really tell. You can go on a gut instinct, and sometimes it looks so obvious, but a lot of the time it looks obvious. But anyway, this is what we got going on. We got the returning home, okay? And so that was interesting. But what happened in the game was we had a little problem, okay? And the problem was England started off really strong. So it almost looked like England could possibly compete and win this game right at the start. It really did to me look like that. I was wondering myself before the game whether England could pull an upset off here. And when they come out and started playing, it looked like they could. If they were going to keep that up for the whole game, it looked like they could win the whole game. But the but came at half time. Interesting that it came at half time, and we were at 42 minutes 31 seconds when the ref pulls out the red card to send off Stewart. Okay, and I don't know if you play rugby and you saw what happened for the sending off, you would have said no, that's not a sending off. He shouldn't have been sent off. And so the problem was England were down to 14 men at that point, and things just kind of went downhill. Actually, they still stayed in the game fairly well, actually, I thought, for being a man down. And at that level of rugby, to play a man down is going to be pretty tough, because it's a pretty physical game at that point. And, having that extra pair of legs on the field is important. It's pretty important. But it didn't end there for the sending offs. Towards the end, England lost another player with a yellow card, which is a 10 minutes off in the sin bin for 10 minutes. And that was right at the end. So they didn't lose them for the full 10 minutes, but I can't remember exactly how long it was, 7 or 8 minutes, I think. And of course, what that did is that encoded our 1513 into the game, our 135 number again, or 315 number, which, again, Ireland had 15 men on the field, England were down to 13, okay? So that was that encoding there. But I want to look at a couple of these numbers here in the chart of Lorraine, to do with this point in the game. And, I don't know, we'll just kind of go through some birthdays and stuff. And I think that'll probably be it, for the video. We'll also go through the score, the full-time score of 29-16. And we might just have a quick think about the shirts that England were wearing. What in the devil? I think that was the dog banging at the door. That was kind of freaky. We'll have a look at the shirts. Sorry, that's completely thrown me off there, that banging at the door. It's the middle of the night, and yeah, that was weird. Anyway, kind of spooky. Let's look at the first guy that's sent off, which is Freddie Stewart. Okay, we have that 5th of December date reference, which is a 125. That ties back with the 114, the 1 1/4 reference, which of course ties to the what date did I want to say that ties to? That ties to the 29th of February, where the 1 comes. It also ties to Christmas with the condensed version of Christmas. It ties to the dartboard really well. This is all stuff that I'm glossing over because I don't have time to explain every little bit. Okay, so that's interesting with that sending off. And then we also have Jack Willis. Again, we could look at the name. This is the guy that gets the yellow card towards the end. December the 24th reference, Christmas Eve. I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on it, but again, we're back to the day before and the day of. The death day and the resurrection, being in Eve, okay, on the 24th, and then coming out of Eve, okay. So we're dealing with like a 2-day thing, really, more than anything. Anyway, I don't really want to go into that too much either. I just wanted to show you that. It's interesting. And I mean, some of these people, you can really pull apart some interesting stuff. So we've done Freddie, we've done that. We've got the card coming up here at this point at the 42-31. Let's look at these numbers in the chart of Lorraine, okay, and just sort of generally talk about the whole thing. What I want to suggest, right, first of all, is if you don't know what I'm referring to here, go watch this video. It will explain this. But these are balancing numbers, all based around phi in relationship to one another. They're Fibonacci type numbers. So what we can do in here is we can put some different patterns in here, and we can kind of overlay different patterns, as we will do in this video. We will overlay this X in here, okay, and that will actually give us some reference numbers to look at. And this, again, this is the Cross of St. Andrew. X marks the spot, number 10 in Roman numerals. this thing is the upward arrow and the downward arrow meeting at a point of balance. Okay, the number 11 is a very good reference for a point of balance. But we can look at these patterns in here and we can draw some conclusions about what the number means, maybe. Okay, it is kind of one of those things where you have to kind of apply a bit of a story to it to make sense of it. But anyway, what was interesting was, let me get rid of this cross off of here. What I really should have done is drawn it in like this, so that actually you could see where it is and you can still see the numbers. Okay, but what we're actually concerned with is this piece that I'm putting in now, which is coming across this direction, because this has to do with the 33, which is to do with resurrection, death and resurrection. Okay, and that's what we're dealing with the end of a cycle. Okay, Owen is playing number 10. Okay, and that is to do with the end and the beginning of a new cycle. Okay, and so 33 again is to do with the beginning and end of a new cycle. Okay, so this is interesting, this leg that's coming all the way across here, because this 53 was referenced in the last game. Okay, with the score. This is a reference to, if we look at let's go back here. I know I've got him. If we look at Andy, if we look at his birthday, okay, May 30th, right? May 30th, 1975, 47 years old. Okay, let's do this real quick. Okay, so we've got our May 30th right here with the 5-3. Again, back with the 5-3 reference. The 75 reference is if I total these numbers up all the way up to 29, okay, this adds up to 17. Did I say 75? Yeah, 75. Okay, hope I didn't say 79. This is 75 across to here. Okay, this is interesting because this is the point at which we want to get to, this 29. And why do I say we want to get to 29 rather than this 11 here? Well, actually, the center of the table between the physical and the metaphysical side of reality is this point here that I've just drawn on here between 11 and 18. Okay, and if we perfectly combine 11 and 18, we're going to get 29. Okay, the other thing to note is that actually at the center of the table there with these two numbers is another 11. Okay, the two numbers that are either side of this point is a 1 and a 1. Okay, so this is just important stuff to note as we're going through this, because of course the 29 shows up in the final score. This is Ireland's score. Okay, Ireland is representing the balance pot portion of the thing here in this game, the winner. Okay, the father. Okay, and so for it to synchronize here, and again with the same in this column, this number 7 column. Okay, 7, another number of completion. Okay, it's very interesting. Okay, now what else do I want to say? Let's look at some of these other numbers real quick. Hang on a minute. What do we have? The 75 and 47. So here's the 47. The reason why that's important is on either side of these numbers. Okay, the 11, 18, and 29. So that's also important. Let's get rid of all that for a second. And so, you know, we've got the 75 explained. The reason why 75 is also explained to the interesting to this point here is that right here we have a 57 for the total, 570 for the 10 column. So the total for this completion end of a cycle column is 570, 57. So that again is interesting with the reverse number here for a total. Oh dear, what else do I want to show you? That kind of took care of him. Let's go to Owen real quick. There's a whole bunch more stuff in here as well. You can whole bunch more numbers that you could look at, but where's Owen? Let's see. All right. This 24th of September, let's look at this in the table. 1991, age 31. Okay. And we'll look at some gematria as well in just a second. But if we go back to the table, here's his age, the 31 here. Okay. And then we look at his birthday, and this is difficult to find his birthday. Okay. But his birthday does show up right here, 924. If we look at this set of numbers here, 924, it shows up here. And we know that what's interesting is we know that when we know what the relationship is here, and we know that 2 and 5 are mirrors of one another, which I've explained in the previous few videos now, this becomes very interesting, okay? Because when we look at this set of numbers here, and we know that 5 is 2, as referenced in this number here as well, if we come over to a penciled in date for the Hoover Dam, which is this 5-9 right here, if we extend over to this 4, we actually have his birthday right here, okay? Because this 5 is also a 2. Hopefully you're following this, but this 5 is also a 2. Hang on a minute. Let me draw that in black so you can get the idea here. So that 5 is a 2, okay, as we see right here and right here, okay? We now have a 924. When that 5 flips to a 2, we've got 924 right here, okay? His birthday, which also goes back over and synchronizes with this number over here as well. Now, what's important about this, let me undo that a little bit. What I want to do, let's go to red for this next bit. Now what I want to do is I want to show you the red card thing and show you how this also ties into this, because we've got, of course, we've got this number in play here for Owen's field number, fly half, yeah, fly, McFly. Let's just go to this real quick. So we're already connecting back to the 5-9. That's all old videos now. What the hell am I looking at? This one. Okay, this the sending off with Stuart. Okay. Again, this number here we're going to look at 4231, and we're going to look at the 10-6 score line at this point, and his number 15. So let's go to this. So let's look at the number 15 for starters, right? And the score line at that point was 10-6. So this is already interesting that it happens to be in this same column for Owen as well here. Okay, so that's already interesting. And then what did I say? It was 31. Well, I don't have a 31. What was it again? Let me go back to it. Hang on a minute. I guess I just pressed that now. Oh, it's 42 to 31. So now I'm looking for also a 42, which again, the 42 happens to be inside this birthday number for Owen, right? So I've got a 13. I got that. What's my other number that's left is 64, which could be 64 could be a 49. Okay, I know that's a stretch for a lot of people to make that connection to that being 49, but with the stuff that I've been showing, some of my previous decodes, and the fact that Easter is this date this year, to me this is not a stretch, because on our 4224 number here, the other half of that number on the time clock, again we've got 95 left over, or the 9th of May. Okay, that's our 59 number. So already this is super nuts with this 15 row here. Okay, I'm just like, huh. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Um, so I don't really know where else I want to go with this. Let me show you something else that's kind of interesting. I thought I had something else for. Did I have something else for? Oh, I thought I did. 31, 1991. I'll tell you, that's an interesting reference as well with the mirror number there, because when you have that mirror number like that, let me get rid of some of this jazz off of here right now. Okay, do I want to get rid of the rest of that? That mirror number there, which is interesting because there's a 199 that shows up here, but that 1991, that's a mirror. If we were to mirror 19, okay, so there's my mirror line. I'm mirroring this now, okay, and you'll see what this comes out as, okay. Pi, pi. The mirror of 19 is pi. Might be why we've got all the part. Might say might be why, but it might be kind of the one of the underlying themes of all this 19 references. Okay, is the idea that the mirror of that is pi, and what we're dealing with this whole thing is this thing pi right here. Okay, and again, damn numerology encodes pi. Okay, numerology, gematria. So this is interesting with this number, and again with this score here. You know, this 16 again. 6 is the 9, and the 19 is the pi. So that was interesting. I think I had something with the 14 as well. I can't remember what it was now. Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe it'll pop up with. Oh boy, that's kind of annoying. I thought I had a different reference there as well. Anyway, don't really matter. I think we've almost covered enough already. One other thing I wanted to mention was when they did win the game. This is what came on. Freed from Desire, Gala, that song. That song, you probably know it. But if you go and listen to the lyrics, that will explain the reference right there. You know, you can almost, well, you can see it right here with the title. Okay, Freed from Desire. Okay, coming out of the Matrix. Again, March 31st release date. Length, there's our 3.5 again there. 3 minutes 50 on the album version, but the 331, again, here's our 331 coming across here. So, you know, freed from desire. This is the idea about coming home to God, is to come out of the matrix system, which is all about desire and, you know, our gluttonous consumption of things that we desire. What else? I just thought this was super interesting with the connection here to the 15, to the guy getting sent off, and back to this date over here. Boy, I wish I could remember what I had on the 14th. I'm sure it was something to do with. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for the video. I actually don't think. Oh, one more thing to look at. Let's look at this real quick. Shirts. I don't know if you can make this out over here. I could probably find a little bit better image if I back this up maybe a little bit. Let's see. No. Just seeing if I got a shot of the Irish shirt. It doesn't. It doesn't really matter. I was going to talk about them coming out of the tunnel again. Ireland had a plain green. sweater, shirt, zip-up shirt on, and England had those gaudy ones with the gold false idol stuff on them still, which was fairly interesting. The more interesting thing is that England have got the blue O, whereas Ireland have got for want of a better way of describing it, is basically a white O with a red. Okay, I don't know how this is going to come out. I'm just going to insert this extra little piece of information in to the video somewhere. The Irish shirt. Okay, this is a better image of it. I mean, I thought it would just be better just to talk about it very quickly. Number one, Vodafone. I've been getting some references, quite a lot of references, obviously, to the phone with the Matrix. All right. What do I want to say? The idea of sound transmission and the idea of changing language, and all the other references to the phone, like in the Matrix, they've got to use the phone to get out of the Matrix. Superman uses the phone booth to get changed. I can't, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, phone booth. The phone booth shows up all over the blooming place. So of course, E.T. Vodafone Home. I don't know, it's just nuts. Anyway, we've recently just had a little bit more of the phone thing with the. This was Will Sullivan actually that mentioned this in a comment. We're on Finis Temporis's channel, the one with the toucan. Okay, the What's So Bad About Feeling Good film Decode, and of course the toucans with the line between them. The toucans makes you your phone, your rudimentary phone line. I'm sure most people have done that when they were a kid. But thanks, Will, for that little bit of info there. And I might just do a video on that later on, actually, because there was some interesting stuff with that thing. But what else have we got going on with this symbolism here? Okay. I'm going to mention the blood moon yet again. This round circle inside over the top of the white. Okay, so when the white moon turns blood red, that means that the sun is on one side of the earth's in the middle, and then the moon is on the other side of the earth in a almost straight line, pretty much. That's what that means. Okay, that everything is balanced, everything's in a straight line, and what's at the center? Earth, the green earth. Okay, because we can take, again, with the reference to the Matrix with the green, there's also the reference to the natural world as well. Okay, so we've got to be careful with our diagnosis of what is being communicated with the color green. What else do I want to say about this? Oh yeah, let's just look at the white now, right here, and if you pay attention, you'll see that the white kind of comes to a point here, and then as it comes around, we've got a sort of a full end here. Okay, and what this looks like to me is like the Ouroboros. Okay, the serpent eating his own tail. Okay, so we've got that hint of that in there as well, with the idea of a cycle. Of course, the number 6 in here, again, the spiral, okay, to do with a cycle as well. So we've got a lot of interesting stuff. Obviously, the number of man, the number 6 as well. One more interesting thing. The dollar bill fold, which is what I call the TIA fold, the TIA. Okay, this looks like a red tear. Okay, and again, the Colorado River, when those tears spill over the Hoover Dam, Remember, the Colorado is named it's the Red River. Okay, so again, um, red tears flowing from the dam. Okay, and again, of course, that happens. When does that happen? That happens when you're born as well. Those the water breaks, and there's if you've ever witnessed a birth, okay, there is a certain amount of red juice that comes out that's not necessarily directly blood, and there's also a, there's a fair bit of blood as well. Okay, but that's the reference there. What else do I want to say? I was thinking there was something else with this. Um, that's it. That is it for this one. Okay, so the 6, the Ouroboros, the Blood Moon, um, the phone, Vodafone. Okay, I guess I could have done a numerology on that, or gematria on it. Sorry, but I ain't worrying about it. Okay, that was my insert. Okay, back to regular video. Cheers. Better stuff. So that was a better idea. I thought a better reference to the winning, would be a good reference for the winning side to have on their shirt. So, of course, I don't remember it always being a red center. I think it's at one point maybe it was just the Vodafone thing with just clear green in the middle. Maybe a few years back now, I don't know. It's like I said, I'm so um, separated from watching rugby now. I really don't really have much of a clue on what the kit was at the time and how it's changed and everything over the years. So hell, I can't hardly keep up with the new rules they keep putting in all the time. So I think I'm going to leave it there. I mean, it was a good metaphor for the whole idea of the system. This, we got the ref here that makes an extremely dubious call. In fact, it was the wrong call. If you were a player of rugby, you would see that it was the wrong call, and it hurt England, and that's, again, they have, this game was a resurrection for them in terms of they came back and actually competed in the game, if you like. It was close until the system screwed them, until the legal dude here screwed them over with a bad call. And you'll get that all the time in the system. It's basically you get screwed, and that's where you end up, is in second place at that point. Okay, so it was another good little metaphor running through the whole game. I don't know what else I wanted to say about it, really. That was pretty much it. We pretty much did all the numbers. Let's just have a quick whiz at I got a few of the stuff and bits and bobs in. The Gematria NATO, Marcus Smith here, again 144, a reference to end times. 153, again, that idea of the end leg on the end leg on that cross in the table. Andy Farrell, okay, a 116, and if we put in his full name, and again we've got David at the middle of that name, as in Dave Bowman, that kind of Dave reference maybe, but again we've got the 111 referenced in here, the 3 towers, okay, fully resurrect, okay, in balance, the 3 legs in balance, yeah, and the 116 or 119, but this would be when this thing was in balance. That thing was removed on 9/11, okay, so if you like, the balance of God was removed on 9/11. So that's what we've got to remember. Just because it's a 9/11, we've got to look whether it's being removed or whether it's standing in a balanced format as well. So we've also got Andrew Farrell, 137. Okay, St. Patrick's Day reference. And again, when we go back to the chart here, this is St. Patrick's Day reference. Here's St. Patrick's Day here. Okay, it's a reference down to this 29 here. Okay, and we've got his stuff here. Okay, his birthday here, and again, we've got this whole column being referenced really well. And again, St. Patrick's Day. Let's look at this. You know, this idea with Ireland again, and look at the number that we're looking at above it. 5/9, the 9th of May. That date I've got penciled in for the for the collapse of the dam. Okay. By the way, for new people, this leg going across on the other diagonal encodes the 29 and the 5/9. Okay. You have to go back and look at my videos, but this 5/9 is an inversion of this. Okay. It's just that 2's been mirrored. Okay. So that's what we've got going on there. And, you know, that's the central balance point right there. That 29 becomes the central balance point, I guess. What else we got in the numbers? Let's look at Owen. Owen Farrell, 129. Okay, there's our 129 at the center of the table. Our first date that we get to is 129. January the 29th is at one of our days in those number jumps on that other side of the cross I was just talking about. Interestingly, his birth name, okay, which must have been his mother's maiden, or his mother's maiden name. We've got a 100 in there as well, which is really interesting. I mean, the 18, everything's interesting, but I'm just picking out the really interesting stuff. 100. Okay, I've got a bunch of other stuff in here that we'll be doing in a different video, but what else have we got? We've also got the 94 in his full name. Okay, the 4/9 of Easter, the resurrection here, and of course you've got the opposite of that with his father with the 64, sort of a reverse number again. So these, you know, I mean, you know, without sitting here for hours going over it all, I mean, it's just interesting, you know. In the reverse, Andrew Farrell also has a 214 number in his name as well. So just interesting. You've got to look at what the reference is to whether the thing's balanced or not. And it's pretty easy to determine whether the thing's balanced or not, because it's either doing something that's right or something that's wrong. I think I'm going to leave it there for the video. I think that's really all I wanted to cover. Again, I don't think there's anything I've really missed out here. We got the players on the pitch. 15 at the end of the game for Ireland, 13 at the end of the game for England. Okay. What else? You know, I guess you could. I mean, I'm trying to think what you could even break this down into. You know, this is the big O, which would be God as well. Depending on the way you look at it, there's the Vesica Pisces. That's the balance point between both realities. Okay, that's the point really at which everything comes into a perfect balance. That's the point where we actually need to be at, but we don't want to be above or below that thing. We want to be right at that thing. So we don't want to be stuck in the V of the matrix. Yeah, and we also don't really want to be stuck in a purely unbalanced physical world, i.e. we've lost our spiritual side, our spiritual balance. So we don't want to be that place either. We've got to be somewhere in between. Okay, So the O and this would be M, 13, okay. OM, OMG. But, you know, the references are just nuts. I don't know what else to say about it. Again, a voyage coming home reference. And of course, the whole thing sponsored by the whole thing actually with the Six Nations, these six embedded, okay, and this is important, okay, super duper important right there, okay, and the reverse of the six again, the 9, and this 139, which is to do with completion because it's the total down here for the 7 column, okay. See how these things cross-reference. What else do I want to say? I lost my train of thought. Six Nations, and also that Guinness reference with being in Dublin, the home of Guinness, and yeah, somebody say Dublin and Dublin and Dublin. Everything is double vision. Okay, this is our main number line here. Okay, Dublin. But the home of Guinness and the Guinness. Check the Guinness out because the Guinness is a Black Pearl reference, also a moon reference, the pure white moon as well. So there's several different references in there. There's also the idea of the Black Pearl and the Corona. Depending on the way you look at that pint of Guinness, will give you some interesting references. Okay, I just dropped a comment on one of Finis Temporis's videos about the Guinness, and that reference there, and the reference that's in Snatch to Guinness, and to the Hoover Dam at that point with Vinnie Jones ordering a pint of the black stuff. So there's an awful lot of little tie-ins with certain things in Ireland, and the whole idea of the I-land. Yeah. When you align with the physical side of reality, and when I say the physical side, I'm not saying all the crap that we've got around us now. That's all man-made physical stuff. That's nonsense. It's not true. Aligning with the true physical nature of reality, which is nature, okay, Mother Nature. That idea of aligning with that is what brings us back into balance, because everything in Mother Nature is already set in stone. Those rules that govern that are already there, okay, they're not changeable, and the idea of them being fixed means that they can't, you know, if you follow them down to the letter, they can't be corrupted, okay, they can't be changed because they're set in stone in the physical. So that idea of the I land, okay, the land represents the physical, yeah, the land of the I, or the I that contains the land, yeah, again is, I'm going around circles trying to say this, but you know, we're looking at that I needing to be in alignment with the idea of land, with the idea of the physical, if that makes sense. The other thing is with the land and the I, again, it's another Vesica Pisces that represents the I, an O basically, and the land is representative of the physical, which is represented also by a phallus symbol, yeah, physical mankind. Again, we're back to this blooming number 10, just with the name Island. Okay, I mean, I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, it's just nuts, you know. Number 15 going off. That was the score at half time, and we had the final score as well that synchronized with this as well. and the synchronization with Owen's birthday, and also the synchronization with these two sets of numbers here and the offshoots, the other side of these numbers here, tying into what we're looking at this year, the resurrection. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here on the. I got some more stuff on this 5.9. It's just absolutely nuts. If you saw the Mr. Robot in the Gematrinator, then you know that I've started in on that series. I've managed to watch it, the whole of series 1, and there's a lot of stuff in there. I'm not going to do decode on the whole thing, but there is a lot of stuff in it, and I will get onto that potentially this week, or maybe in a couple of nights' time. But anyway, I'm leaving it there for this video. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope that ain't too. I said I'll make this a little quick video. 45 minutes, bloody hell. Alright, I'll catch you on the next one. Alright, cheers. Bye.